We all know Jurassic Park. No, not that one. This one. Written and published by Michael Crichton, this sci-fi thriller is my favorite book of all time. It's an absolute classic. It's also the perfect book for me. Crichton uses a masterful blend of scientific exposition, which lends the story credibility, and genuinely terrifying scenes that send chills down your spine to keep the reader's full attention. If you want proof of the latter, just read the chapter titled Nedry in the 4th section of the book. If you've read the book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Eventually, the Jurassic Park film adaptation was made and became an instant classic, and funnily enough, became my favorite film of all time. However, after the success of both novel and film, an eventual sequel became inevitable. So naturally, Crichton was asked to write said sequel. He wrote a second novel, this one titled The Lost World, from which Spielberg and Universal used pretty much nothing for the plot of their film adaptation, The Lost World Jurassic Park. But I'm not here to talk about the film, which was great by the way. I'm here to talk about how Michael Crichton's The Lost World justifies its existence. But first, here's an extremely brief synopsis of the plot. Okay, remember Ian Malcolm from the last book? Yeah, remember how he got brutally mauled by a T-Rex at the end and was said to have died from his injuries? Yeah, he's fine. He just needs a cane to walk around now. He didn't die. I wonder why Spielberg kept him alive. So there's this guy called Richard Levine who heard rumors of strange animals showing up on beaches in Costa Rica and thinks that it's dinosaurs. So he goes to Ian Malcolm because Costa Rica is where Malcolm got injured. Their conversation basically goes like this. Levine asks, "Hey, do you think dinosaurs survived the mass extinction that supposedly killed them off?" And Malcolm says, "No." So Levine decides to investigate on his own and finds a beach specimen that he collects a sample from before it's incinerated by the Costa Rican government. He then learns of InGen and Isla Sorna, sister island to Isla Nublar, where the first park was. This prompts him to go on an expedition to Isla Sorna, aka Site B, where he is ambushed by some camouflaging Carnotaurus and trapped on the island. This in turn causes Malcolm and a small team to come and rescue him. At the same time, InGen's rival, Lewis Dodson of Biosyn, also wants to go to Sorna to collect some dinosaur samples for big game hunting reserves. This all culminates in the two groups going to Site B, until, in proper Jurassic fashion, all hell breaks loose. Now to explain my thesis. My general criteria for a worthwhile sequel are the following. In my opinion, a good sequel must have good world building, maintain a similar tone to the original, expand on characters both new and old, and provide a brand new, fresh story. The Lost World meets all these criteria. First, world building. Jurassic Park leaves you with some unanswered questions. For instance, what'll come of all the people who were killed during the InGen incident? Well, Crichton explains in The Lost World that InGen covered up their deaths by making up fake stories like its founder John Hammond dying while visiting an InGen research facility, when in reality, he was eaten alive by compies. Additionally, this book adds Isla Sorna, InGen's Site B, where they clone dinosaurs outside of the park. This all feels like a natural progression and extension from the previous book. Moving on to tone, it's Michael Crichton. Crichton has an extremely distinctive writing style which comes through beautifully in both Jurassic books. You have his aforementioned scientific exposition and brutal descriptiveness, which are staples of Jurassic. This comes most into effect in the violent and gory kills. Crichton paints an unsettling picture in your mind of exactly what is happening in shocking detail. To see this in both books, take a look at Lewis Dodson or Howard King's deaths in The Lost World, and Dennis Nedry's death in Jurassic Park. I know I already mentioned Nedry's death, but it's just a gold mine. It's gruesome, excruciating, and actually makes you feel bad for him after all the bad things Nedry has done. Next, characters. Malcolm, after the InGen incident, is even more cynical and nihilistic. This is a very natural progression of his character after all that he's been through. But expanding on characters also includes new characters. Introducing characters that serve a purpose to the plot can be difficult, but Crichton mostly nails it. The only characters I have a problem with were the kids, Arby and Kelly. I think Crichton just wanted to replicate the dynamic of Lex and Tim from Jurassic Park, and it's really evident with the way Arby and Kelly are written. Other than that, every character works in the context of the story. Levine and his curiosity are the whole reason they go to the island in the first place. Dr. Thorne and Eddie Carr are how they operate their customized field equipment. Sarah Harding was brought by Dodson because she's a field animal behaviorist. And Malcolm was brought there because he said that he'd help Levine look into his lost world hypothesis. And because, well, he's Ian Malcolm. I don't even have a problem with Howard King or Dr. Basilton, who just end up being dino fodder, because you bet that's why Dodson brought him there. I mean, it's just such a Dodson thing to do. Finally, needless to say, The Lost World provides a new story. Though some story beats are similar, it is certainly new and refreshing. So yes, I'd recommend this book to you if you're a fan of Jurassic Park, movie or book. I'd recommend this book if you like science, thrillers, or just looking for a book that you'll struggle to put down. However, read Jurassic Park before reading The Lost World if you haven't already. I mean, that just goes without saying, doesn't it? Why would someone read the sequel before...